There was a time when we were going to church with my grandmother, I could hear her friend's mama that, do you know this guy was bought?
What?
Yeah, sure.
And then you remember that she told you?
Yeah, I spend a lot of money on you. I wish I never spent on you that money. They used to leave me outside and it's raining during the El Nino time. They used to leave me outside being rained on. Yeah, they didn't want me. Why would someone disconnect me from my biological tree? Why? But if there's a game that was played for me to be disconnected from my people, it hurts me a lot. Yeah, it hurts me a lot.
Akona miaka mingapi?
Mtoto. Mtoto huyu anaendelea.
Akona miaka mingapi? Edward akona miaka mingapi?
Ile alikwambia.
Wewe kama mzazi haujui? Tuko family, how are you doing? My name is King'ori Wangechi. Welcome to this episode of My Story. And in this episode, we have an interesting gentleman who is looking for answers. He's asking about his identity. He's questioning it. So without doing much, let's get to know more about him. Sir, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to Tuko. And I will ask you to introduce yourself, and then we'll get into why you are questioning that introduction or that identity.
Okay, before I introduce myself, at first I'm so grateful to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And also to my mentor, my friend, Mr. James, is the one who we've walked with him this journey, and he has connected me to be here. So it's a great pressure, and I said thank you.
You're welcome.
So to my name is Edward Amata Atiga. That's my name. Yeah.
What do you do, Edward? For the purposes of this episode, we'll call you Edward, but as we progress, we'll know why Edward is questionable, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do?
At the moment, I'm a florist. I'm an event planner. Also, I do crafting in gift bags and printing of t-shirts. Yeah.
Florist.
Yeah.
What does a florist do?
A florist is a designer who has ventures is creative in flowers. So in doing the bouquets, arrangements, doing the quotation, planning for the people who are doing events like birthdays, baby showers, weddings, etc.
Yeah. Do you have peak days or peak seasons for flowers?
Sure, we do have. The major one is Valentine's Day, which we know for the lovers. Then we have Women's Day. And lastly, we have the Mother's Day.
Okay, we don't have anything to do with this gender.
We do, but you see, the African culture, like, I don't know why people don't value as much. Yes, they do, but when it comes to gifting and such, we are left aside. Yeah.
Could you give us a background of how you grew up, where, and then we get to know more?
Okay. Where I was born, it's purported. I was born in Pumwani. Others say I was born in Mata Hospital. But as where I sit, I don't know where I was born. But I know where I was raised and bred. So I was raised in Kawangware, Gatina. So that's where I was raised. And I grew in the area, in Kawangware. I schooled in Kawangware Primary. I did my KCP in Kawangware Primary. Then after my KCP, I progressed to high school. I went to Waldorf Senior School, still in Kawangware, Kamidha area. Then after my high school education is where I started hustling because I wasn't able to progress to college because of our, let me say, my background. Then after hustling for a while, I met with Mr. James, where I started a 6 months training, doing the printing, doing the eco-friendly bags. So I worked there for a while. Then my pastor referred me to Flower Bliss. Then I went to Flower Bliss. That's where my journey for florists started. But I went there as an office messenger, still in Lavington, within Kawangware again. So after there is when I decided, let me pursue, at least let me find myself a paper, like a career. There is when I got a scholarship with Filamu Juani. I enrolled for a course, about 1 year. I did film production. After there, I went back to church again because it was in the Filamu Juani, it was a church scholarship. So after I finished my school, I went back to church to serve at the church with junior varsity. After there, I've hustled kidogo nje. Then is where my current job, my boss, poached me from Marie's Flowers. Sorry, Flower Bliss. Then I went to Nakuru. Yeah.
Talking of poaching, you're very good at that. Very few people get poached. Now, let's go back a little. You said that you are bred and brought up in Kawangware. How is that family that brought you up?
I was brought up by my grandma. Yeah.
So what about your father, your mother?
Okay, the whereabouts of my father and my mother we'll know as we continue. But I have no idea about them. I've never seen them. It's just that I hear stories about them. But I've never seen them. I've never heard them. Yeah.
So you've been brought up by your grandmother?
My grandma, whom she's not my real parent. We are not related in any way.
How so?
Okay, this is how the story is. When I was a kid, she told me, because I find myself in her hands. So she told me that your parents, my mom, when she was pregnant, so she was still in school, in campus. Okay, sorry. I have two stories about what she told me. Which one, she told me my mother, when she was giving birth to me, she didn't manage and she passed away. And that's how I find myself in her hands. She's the one who took me. The other story, she told me that...
As a guardian, she took you as a guardian?
Yeah, as a guardian. The other story, she told me that your mother and your father, they were dating. Then your father, when he realized he has given my mom, she's expectant, the father ran away. So my mother, what happened to her was the parents to my mom, because she was in campus, they told her that we don't want you to bring a kid to us, so you have to abort this kid. And so my mother didn't want to do so. And she was so pushed to the edge so that she can abort me. So a friend of my grandma told my mother that instead of doing that, I have a friend of mine who doesn't have a kid and would like to have a kid. So how about you keep the baby, then when you give birth, we'll give the baby to this mama. So, and she agreed.
Now to give to the woman who is now...
My grandma.
The one who has raised you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's how it happened. Again, I found myself to the
hands.
current, my grandma. So I called home and asked them, now I'm a grown-up. Kindly just tell me the truth of what happened. And this is a revelation that I was told. That when my grandma was young, he traveled to Nairobi for greener pastures. And she overstayed in Nairobi for a very long time. And during that time, he got a person and tried marriage, but it never worked because she wasn't blessed with a womb. And because of that, she was advised by her friends that instead of you living like that, and you know, I'm a lawyer, okay? And they believe that if you're a lady and you doesn't get a kid, there's a lot of stigma, and you're not welcome at home. And because of that, my grandma was forced to buy me. She was forced to buy me. So when she bought me, she went with me back home. And she told her parents the truth. But the other brothers and sisters, seems like she never told them the truth. So it was a secret that was kept between the dad, her dad, and mom. And so war broke out there because the brother wanted to know, who is this? Who have you brought here? We want to know the parents, the dad. Because the issue of land. So no, we lawyers and land. So I think his second born brother to my grandma started war with her. And it made my grandma to flee and left me there. But when I was left there, they tried even to poison me. They've tried a lot of stuff on me. So my grandma had to shift me from there and take me to her sister. When I went to her sister, I remember it was during El Nino time. I remember vividly what they did to me. I think, is it the son or the brother, tried to even kill me. At times they used to poison me. They used to leave me outside, and it's raining during the El Nino time. They used to leave me outside being rained on. Yeah. They didn't want me. Those are the events that I remember. They're on my fingertips. There was a time even I was taken to the cowshed and left there so that the bull can hit me. You see? There was a time I was even feeding on the cow dungs. Yeah. No one used to take care of me. No one. So
That was before she brought you to Kawangware?
yeah, before. Before I came to Kawangware. Because she came back to Nairobi to hustle. So when I was there, there's a time my grandma came. And I was in a deplorable situation. And I was crying because I know her. And I told her, you cannot leave me here again. We are going with you. And that's when my grandma took me and we came to Nairobi, Kawangware again. Yeah.
So at what point did you get to learn or to get these stories from her? What pushed you to find out?
Okay. The major turning point of my realization was previously where we were living when I was a toddler. People used to call me Mandela. Even to date, if I go there, they still call me Mandela. So I was questioning myself. When I joined primary, I was recognized as Edward Amata, Atiga. So I used to ask myself, at home people call me Mandela, but when I'm in school, people call me Edward Amata. So how comes? So I went to my grandma and asked her, Shosh, shule wananiita hivi, hapo wananiita hivi. So tell me.
Was it not a nickname?
It wasn't a nickname. For me, it wasn't a nickname because Edward Amata wasn't existing. Edward Amata just came after I went to class 1.
Okay.
So previously, I knew myself as Mandela. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So after I asked her, she told me, the Mandela for South Africa was a famous person. And you know, ulikuja hiyo time yenye the Mandela was booming. Everyone was Mandela. That's why you're being called Mandela. People see you like you're a replica of Mandela. But I was like, apana, no. Then I asked her, still I was a kid. Then I asked her, so Shosh, tell me, where did you find this name Edward Amata? So, and she told me that, I read in a book and I saw it's a good name and we gave you. So that was when I was a kid. But I didn't ask about who is my mama then because I was young. So after there, during the period of doing my examination, when I was in class 8,
The primary school
Yeah,
education
primary school
exam.
education exam. So when we are registering for the exam, you must produce your birth certificate for you to be registered by NEC. So when I was asked for my birth certificate, I didn't have it. So I went back to my mom, my grandma.
So at that time, did you think that she was your mom?
At that time, yeah. I knew she's my grandma.
Okay,
Yeah.
not your mom.
Not my mom, but I knew she's my grandma because herself, she told me, I'm your grandmother.
Okay.
Yeah, the mother to your mom. So during that time, it was a struggle for me to get that paper. So whenever I tell her, she become mad, aggressive. She doesn't want those stories. So she was called to school and explained why or where are the papers for your grandson. But she never went there. Until when she was told, if you don't give us the paper, your grandson won't do the exam. So even the teachers realized, this case is very hard. So I don't know what they did, but I found myself doing my exam. Then I've skipped some events since I was a kid when I was questioning my name to this exam. There are some things which were happening.
Like what?
For example, when my grandma gets mad, she could tell me, well, unajua, my friends used to tell me not to take you. They used to tell me to leave you. But for me, I just took you. So see, those revelations, I used to connect them slowly by slowly until when it reached the time for birth certificate, it's when it came to my mind, there's something wrong here. There's something that is hidden. So I did my exam. After I did my exam, when I was joining high school again, when I was in school, even when I was in primary and high school, people knew me as an orphan, that my parents died. That's what my grandma used to tell people. So again, when we were doing KCSE, the birth certificate was needed again. My grandma did the same, refused to show up, refused to produce. But at that time, I had a clear mind, I'm not from this family. I started to see the signs. So even, again, when I was transitioning to high school, there's something again she told me. When she gets mad, she must tell me something. So she told me, sometimes I feel like I wasted my money.
Wasted my money?
Wasted my money.
In educating you?
Not really about educating me. She was very clear and specific. The money I used to get you, I could go and buy land, do my own investments. Then I was like, no. So there is when I started questioning her, coming with hard questions. Now let's go home, show me the grave of my mom. So even I started to reach people from home. I asked them,
which home?
Where my grandma is born.
Okay.
But when I call there, they just give me other stories. No one gives me clear. They just tell me, that's your mom. Then they don't tell me, that's your grandmother. Then they tell me, that's your mom. You see the confusion there? So I tried. Then there's a time I went to my pastor, my youth pastor. Then I told him the story. So he told me, clearly here, there's a fishy thing. So we'll pray for you. We'll try to investigate, go slow on the matter as we try to find the answers. So during that period, I've been trying, talking to people, talking to family members, but no one gives me a clear info. Then goes back when I was still again a kid, just connecting the events. There was a time when we were going to church with my grandmother, I could hear her friend's mama that, do you know this guy was bought?
What?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, when you are coming from the church, I could hear her friend's mama. Do you know this kid was bought?
And then you remember that she told you?
Yeah, I spend a lot of money on you. I wish I never spent on you that money. Then I go back again, even my names, you don't know where they came from. the names are just changing. Something funny again, my grandma doesn't stay in the same place. She always shifts. Like she'll stay here like 3 months, she shifts. Go to another place, 3 months, she shifts. This one I've come to realize just soon when I called again at home. That's how I was told. My grandma, she has always been on the run. It's like she's running from something. So when I connect these events, it came to me and realized there's something wrong. So...
Does she have relatives?
Sure, she has. Yeah.
And what is your relationship with them?
I can't say it's a good relationship because they don't recognize me, to be honest. For those who try, I feel like it's pretense. Yeah, it's pretense. Because even there's a time I traveled there, and the way they welcomed me, it was fishy. Also, whenever I go there, they'll just bring stories about land. All of a sudden, they just bring stories about land. Yeah. So I realized these are not my people. But there's one guy there, at least, he's my age mate. Yeah, at least that one, we bond very well. And he's the one who tried to give me some information and shed light. Yeah.
This grandma of yours, is she the one who has educated you from class 1 to Form 4?
Yeah, she's the one. And something that I'm always grateful about her is that she has been like my God. She has been an angel to me. To say that, apart from when she's mad, I can say she has never mistreated me. She has raised me very well. She has struggled with me. Even as I sit here, I don't think if my mom could do what she did to me. Yeah, she has a pure heart. Where there is a disconnect is the reason why I'm here. I just want to know my identity. I want to be happy. I want to be me. That's why I'm here. But to say she's not a good mother, no, that one, no. She has been a pillar. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're looking for yourself. You're looking for your real name, your real identity, your roots,
Yeah.
your relatives.
Yeah.
You don't know them at all.
I don't know them.
And after you talked of class 8 certificate, Form 4, any other application that has required a birth certificate and gotten challenges?
ID. When it came for me to get my ID, it was a very, very huge struggle. Because when I tried to go to the chief, they requested for the birth certificate. So I told him my story. Then he told me, okay, just go to the DO. Then I went to the DO. The DO told me you have to produce your parents' IDs, which I don't have. Then they told me, if you don't have the IDs, come with your parent. And who is my parent? My grandma, the same person who doesn't want to show up. So she refused again to show up. So we just use shortcuts, let me say that, to get my birth certificate. And even coming to the documentation and putting the names of the birth certificate, I had to consult my grandma. So I told her, they've asked me to give my mother, my father, my age, date of birth, and everything. The shocking thing is, now my grandma, she's aged. So she didn't even know my age. Up to date, if you ask her my age, she won't tell you. And if I tell her my age, aniambianga, hey, you are still young. Wacha kujiekea hiyo miaka unajiekea. So she doesn't even know my age. So even the age, it was an approximation I did with the documents that I saw the time I was being taken for the kupimo, the weight. So I just did an approximation and gave myself the date. So for the name, we wrote her name, Florence Makungu. For the name of the dad, I produced her father.
Your grandma's father.
Father name.
Is your great
grandfather. So when it comes to the government paper, he's known as my father. Yeah.
Does he even exist?
No, I never saw him.
Okay. So now that is, he acts as your father.
He acts as my father.
And your grandmother as your mother.
My mother.
On your birth certificate.
On my birth certificate.
The one that you looked for yourself.
Yeah. So when this friend of mine helped me to get the birth certificate, is the one that I used to apply for the ID. Because actually it was during the election time. So to get an ID during that time, it was easy. Looking at the area I'm coming from, so it was easy to get the ID. And that's how I got my ID. So after I got my ID, it was good. But still, when sasa now it came to applying for a passport, it has become a tussle. Yeah.
Why?
So when I applied for my passport, I was booked for the biometrics. So the problem came in that my mom, age, and my age, if they see, they don't match. They see like it doesn't make sense here. Then they ask me, then produce your mom's ID, which I had. But when it comes to the father part, I should produce the death certificate or the ID. These documents, I've never seen them, I don't have. Even if I follow up from home, they don't have.
How old are you, if I may ask?
26.
You're 26, as we speak.
As we speak.
And how old is your grandma?
80. 80, 82, even me, I'm not sure. But it's 80, 82. Yeah.
So when the government officials checked the documents, they saw that she could have gotten you when she was around 54.
Yeah.
That's why they were questioning.
Yeah.
But it would have been easier if there was proof that either she adopted you or something like that.
And that was the proof they wanted. But again, my grandma doesn't want to show up. Even if we ask her, whatever means we use, he normally tells me, now you're a grown-up, build your family, and just live your life. Live alone with the papers and everything. No, for her, she doesn't understand about the formalities and papers. So that's how it has been. So it has become an hassle for me even to get that passport. Because whatever they're asking, I don't have. They want to prove. There's no way I can prove them without my grandma.
So they want to prove about the real you.
Yeah.
And that is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
How has that affected your life, Edward?
Okay, let me go back. When I was a young person, actually, I wasn't mentally stable even if I was a young person. Because it used to pain me when people call me an orphan. I didn't like that name at all. Because a teacher will come to class and say, maybe when they're taking the tally, you will hear that. Any orphan in the class, everyone will be a martyr. So I used to feel like it's a stigma to me. Yeah. I used to be a very emotional person. And you know, Makiuyu, when I was young, I realized that there's something wrong here. So I used to sense like my parents are there, but why are these people calling me an orphan? But you know, at that time, I was a very silent person. I wasn't outspoken. So I could let go. Same to high school, people knew I am an orphan. So even these things like when there's a, let's say like a sponsorship or something, I could be categorized with the orphans, but I know very well I'm not an orphan. So I wasn't happy with it. Then, as a grown-up, imagine living about 20 to 18 years, living a lie, knowing very well that your parents died. Then you come to realize they are there. It's very sad to live a lie. Secondly, no one is there to help you to understand. Yes, we believe in an African culture that men are supposed not to be emotions, right? But for a person like me, I have a son. So sometimes I do sit down and ask myself, when this kid comes to me and asks me, Dad, where's your mom? Where's your father? Tell me our family tree. What will I tell him? Because the kid will one day ask me those questions. Will I start giving him stories? No. I want him even to know we came from somewhere, we are going somewhere. So something else even hurts me is when I was talking with my friend, my boss, James Mwangi, when we were discussing, I was like, my son is named after me, okay? Amata. Who is this Amata? Who is this Amata? So see, it disturbs. So up to date, I'm still, mentally I'm not okay actually. It saddens me. And something else that saddens me most, but I'll forgive my grandma. When we are talking about the connection, when I had the thing that I was bought, that one breaks my heart so hard because of why would someone disconnect me from my biological tree? Why? Why? That one saddens me a lot. If truly I was adopted, if truly I was collected, as they say, that's okay. But if there's a game that was played for me to be disconnected from my people, it hurts me a lot. Yeah, it hurts me a lot. I've never been okay. Actually, since I realized that, I don't sleep. I don't have sleep. I suffer from insomnia because of that. Yeah.
You asked, who is this Amata?
Yeah.
So what about Mandela?
The Mandela story, it just died.
So who are you? Are you Mandela or are you Amata?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. So even if I ask where the name Mandela came from, I'm told Mandela, it was like they saw me as a replica of Mandela. So they named me Mandela. Rugedi. Rugedi is my great-grandfather. So it was Mandela Rugedi, right? Then after I joined primary, it changed to Edward Amata Atiga. Still Atiga is my grandfather.
So how many birth certificates are out there with your details?
One.
Which one is that?
Edward Amata Atiga.
But that is not what you were given when you were born. That is the one that you looked for.
Yeah.
So what about the original one, the one that has, the one that you were given when you were born?
I've never seen it. I don't think if I've ever had it, because it has never been presented to me.
But it is there. It exists in government files.
I don't think so.
It does. Because when you're born, a certificate is issued by the registrar of persons. Certificate of birth. So that one is there. It exists in government files.
Maybe it exists,
yes,
but to me,
you have never seen it.
I'm not aware.
And then there is this other one. I don't know if there is one for Mandela, but at least what we know now is that you have one for Amata.
So the first theory is my mom was forced to terminate me. And that's how I found myself to my grandma. That's theory one. Theory two, my mom died. And my grandmother took me as a result. The third theory, the one that I overheard people saying that I was bought, which it has come again, I've heard from other people, the family member. So,
and from your grandma telling you that she wishes she spent
her money
on something else.
Yeah, instead of using on me.
So all these theories that you have been given about yourself, would you accept any of them if you are told the truth?
Before I go there, there's something I've left behind. To answer the question that you told me that there's a government, they know that maybe Mandela, there's a document with them when I was given birth. Now to answer you why I'm telling you, I'm sure that there is no name of such there. It's because when my grandma got me through that transaction thing, she avoided government. Because no, she has never been to school also. So she feared that if I produce this kid of mine to government, I might be asked and I might find myself in jail. That's why up to date, whenever she hears government, she just evaporates. She just avoid. So that's why I told you, I'm sure even if we go to the government, we won't find that name. The one that will be found is the one that I gave myself. Yeah.
Okay. So I was asking the theories that you've been given. Would you accept any of them if the truth was put on the table for you?
Sure, I would accept. Because what I want right now, it's a closure. And the closure that I want truth. I just want truth. If I get the truth, I'll be okay. Because now I'm in a confusion world. I don't know what to believe in. So I want the truth. Because if it was just a closure I wanted, just a closure, I would have closed my case very, very
long time ago.
Because I've gotten a lot of the closures in front of me. But now I don't know, should I trust this? Should I trust this? No. So I just want the truth. And at least if I get the closure, at least also I get to know who am I. Not just the closure and still I don't know who I am. Because I told you previously, I just want to be happy. When I walk, I want to feel it's me. Who am I? That's what I'm looking for also. Apart from the closure, also I want to know myself. Yeah.
Are you looking for your relatives, biological relatives?
Okay, to be honest with you, I would be happy to know them. But as it stands, I'm happy to be with my mom. I'm happy to be with her. But I just, if it's looking for them, I want them to help me know what happened. That's it. What happened? That's the question I want it to be answered. But literally looking for them to be with them, those are so many years. Yeah. I'm so comfortable, I'm okay with my mom. But those questions are the ones I want to be answered and to know who am I. Yeah.
All right. So let's now discuss this gentleman. What are your hobbies?
I like watching football.
And you're not a Chelsea fan, are you?
Manchester United.
The
Manchester
greatest
United team in the world. Yeah, that's one. Secondly, for the love of loving, for the love of learning. I just love learning new stuff. Yeah, and I'm someone who talks a lot. If you just sit me down, my hobby is talking, sharing stories, experiences. Yeah.
And you're very eloquent even on this interview.
Thank you.
And what keeps you awake? Okay, you've told us what keeps you awake at night is these disturbing stories and your look for closure. What makes you happy?
My grandmother. She has been an inspiration. And the fact that I see her, you struggle with someone whom you are not connected, it has made me to grow love. I was a bitter person, but for now, I'm a happy person. So when I look at you like the way I look at you right now, if I hear your stories, I won't judge you, but I'll try to understand you. So what makes me happy, I understand my environment, I understand people, I understand everything. Yeah.
How old is your son?
My son is 3 years.
What would you tell your younger self?
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'll tell myself I'm sorry because I lived a lie. I kept a lot of stuff in my heart and it has burdened me. It has burdened me in matters education because I wouldn't concentrate. I was a very isolated person. People think that I was a very jovial and cheerful person, but whenever I found myself alone, I used to be a very bitter person. So I'll say to my younger self, I'm sorry, Edward Amata. Yeah.
What is your dream, Edward?
My dream, I want to become a cinematographer. Not only to do cinematics, but also to do what you're doing right now, to air stories, to allow people to talk about themselves, to allow people to be themselves. Like when I was with James, I told him, I see this thing as a pandemic because I'm one of them. And when we were discussing, I was like, because I've gone through this stuff, I want to air this story, and if we can get a platform on how we can come up with ways we can reduce this thing, because it's coming a pandemic. It's becoming a pandemic to our country. There's a lot of people who are living like me. They are dying inside. These people are like zombies. We are just walking, but inside we are dead because of what we are carrying. And we see right now the story about widows, single mothers, it's coming up. The family setup, it's dying. And how can government, how can the society, how can the community, with the younger generation, we can do away with this thing or mitigate? Because the generation that is coming, I foresee we will have a lot of story like this one. And we raise a very sad nation. Yeah, a confused nation. So my dream is, if we get platform, we discuss, we talk about these things, we air, and we see how can we mitigate. Yeah.
All right. So if anyone would want to walk with you through this journey, how would they get in touch with you? Where do we begin?
I can share my phone number and email. Also, I can share the details of our country, home, our village. And also, earlier I talked about these 2 documents, about Pumwani, the story about I was born in Pumwani, and the story about Mata. So if it's contact tracing, if we can start from those areas. Yeah.
Yes, please. Where is that? Where do you come from? I mean, the upcountry?
Upcountry, Vihiga County. Mbale, a place called Wademesi. Yeah.
And now your phone number and email.
My phone number is 0723493451.
Take it again.
0723493451.
And you have registered it as Edward?
Yeah, Edward Amata Atiga.
Your email address?
And my email address is amataedwards@gmail.com.
Amata Edwards?
Edwards. The Edward has an S. Yeah, at gmail.com.
All right. Let's have a call with Florence. This is Edward Atiga's grandma and guardian. We hear her side of the story.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, naongea na Florence.
Yes.
Haya, mimi naitwa King'ori. Naitwa King'ori.
Sifiki?
Naitwa King'ori.
Yes.
Kutoka Tuko.
Kutoka?
Tuko, kituo cha Tuko.
Aha.
Nilikuwa nafuatilia story ya Edward. Kijana ambaye anajiuliza kuhusu identity yake. Sasa ukweli wa chanzo chake ama pahali yeye ametoka ni gani? Ukweli wa pahali yeye ametoka
Mtoto mwenyewe bila kupita ni mtoto wangu kweli. Yaani mtoto yangu na kisichana chenyewe msichana mwenyewe alipata mimba kweli. Yaani alikuwa bado anamaliza shule.
Na unapotea sikusikii vizuri, sauti iko chini.
Sauti? Sasa huyo mtoto nilimzaa. Hata siku ya kumzaa masiku inapoteanga na siku na vile alikuwa. Unasikia?
Wewe ndio uliyemzaa? Wewe?
Najua nilikuwa nafikiri ni yule mwingine. Nakwambia ati ni wa msichana. sana, lakini kama ni Edu huyo ni wangu na kutalia kwake baba yake alikuwa kitu wangu na kitu tu alikuwa jana ila amelioa kabisa akafanya naye rafiki. Umesikia? Alafu wakati nilienda kutafuta hii rafiki kwa amepatikana vile najua naonanga tu kusaidiana, si ndio? Alafu kwa kasanga kama naenda na hata sikujua kwao ni wapi na sikujua ni nini kwake na mfanya hivyo.
Ako na miaka mingapi?
Mtoto. Mtoto huyu anaendelea.
Ako na miaka mingapi? Edward ako na miaka mingapi?
Ile alikwambia.
Wewe kama mzazi haujui?
Ni hivyo, lakini mimi nakwambia inarudi saa nyingine kwa kuandika kwa karatasi, lakini kama mimi na kitu kishiki baba. Kama mnaona huko kwa karatasi yake bibi nasema ni sawa, lakini kwa makaratasi ile ilitokea kwa ajili mvua ilikuwa inanyesha kwa nyumba, ikanyeshea kwa makaratasi kwa sababu sasa ni kama imeharibika na tukatupa. Kwa hivyo baba akataka kusaidia tu. Amesikia? Nimesikia. Na sijui ni upande gani kuna kupoteza kwa vitu yake. Yeye alimsaidia, amesoma na hiyo yote alikubali na akashukuru sana na amesema umemweka vizuri sana. Sasa tatizo ni makaratasi yake, stakabadhi zake za kuzaliwa ambazo sasa zinazuia apate kitu kama passport. Sasa habari ya kuzaliwa sasa katika chenyewe nikitafuta siwezi pata. Kitu kama si saini na sita hivi sijajua. Maana najua inapita hapo. Swali la mwisho. Hello? Swali la mwisho. Yeye alisema anajua ako na majina mawili. Ako na jina la Mandela na ako na jina la Edward Atiga. Atiga ni jina la baba yangu. Na kasema kama ile kijana alikuwa mpenzi kwa mtoto wangu na kawa hivi kazalia huyu. Sasa hivi dawa mzuri atumiki jina langu. Na Mandela ni kama nilijia mashiko Mandela alikuwa anakufa na tukopeana kwa majina kwa vijana kama hao. Haukumpata pahali ama akatupwa na wazazi wake, mzazi wake ukamchukua? Anauliza. Hakuna mtu alimtupa. Nilikwambia alizaliwa tu, lakini baba yake alikuwa rafiki. Hakuwa baba anaolekana. Alikuwa hajaolekana, alikuwa rafiki. Na si uliniambia ni wewe ulimzaa? Na ndio mimi nakwambia sasa alikuwa rafiki au kwa ndio nimenioa. Alikuwa hajanioa hata mimi nilikuwa sijajua kwao na sijajua na tabia nyingi. Sasa hapo mtaweza kama mnaona mtaweza kumsaidia. Mtaweza kuvumilia mangine. Unajua vitu mingi kama ya hawa watoto kama hawa. Kitu kikubwa angeliweka vizuri makaratasi. Kulijua. Lakini ile makaratasi ya kuzaliwa hiyo ndio nakwambia mvua ilinyesha kwa nyumba, ilikuwa inanyesha. Alafu ile makaratasi yake nilikuwa naweza kwa maboksi. Nasikia. Na mbwa nikana karibu hiyo makaratasi. Haya ni sawa. Nafikiri tutawachia hapo leo kwa leo. Sasa ndio mimi nakwambia. Wamefanya vizuri ukaniambia hivi. Kitu kikubwa inatakikana namna gani ndio mkajiwana na yeye? Sisi tunafanya uchunguzi wa habari, ndio maana tuliweza kupatana na yeye tukifuata story kama yake. Kama mlikuwa mnajuana? Hatujuani, sisi ni wanahabari. Sisi ni wanahabari.
Wanahabari hatujuani na yeye.
Sawa baba. Sasa jana alikwambia hiyo. Sasa natakikana utashika sana, ha? Sasa mimi nimekwambia upande wa kuzaliwa.
Nimepata upande wako. Ingawa kuna matatizo, kuna tashwishi, yani kuna gaps, lakini ni sawa.
Sasa huyo mtu na wasaie sisi atumishane na yeye alikufa kitambo. Na kwa sisi kusema kweli siko kwao na siko jua kwao na siko mjua vizuri. Vile naona tu mtu mnatengeneza wale elimu. Kama urafiki. Mimi nasema ukweli ni urafiki. Sasa ile majina mingi zawaji wazazi wangu walikufa wote. Jina lake ni Habani King'ori. Lakini mwenye kuandika ndiye alisema nani? Mangati jina hiyo yake jina.
Hata hilo hujui? Haujui jina lake?
Sasa ndio mimi nakwambia. Tunaona aliita jina baba yangu anaitwa King'ori, na?
Akaitwa?
Anaitwa Habani King'ori. Ndio. Sasa na huyo mwenye kuandika dinki haya tukasema analiita namna gani? Ndio najua sababu nimeandika, Nasikia? Sasa inaitwa King'ori. Hapana vile nasikia kuita kama jina. Aliita nani kile?
Wewe ama wewe? Sikuelewi hapo. Unataka nikwambie jina ya nani?
Ile tulisema jina yangu alikwambia eti ya Mata.
Aliniambia mambo ya Mata na ya Pumwani.
Ya baba.
Ya baba ni ya huyo mwenye unasema ni baba ya babako ama ni babako?
Huyo ni baba yangu hapa King'ori, no? Amekufa. Sababu alisema ule alikuwa rafiki. Sasa hakuchukua kama mke. Kwa hivyo mtoto aandike King'ori, hapa ni King'ori. Umesikia? Lakini ile jina aliitwa hivyo, tukifunza aliita nani? Aliita nani? Nisema aliita tofauti. Ana hiyo majina ndio ya baba yangu na watakufa na kiti yake na vijana wetu. Na sasa sisi nilikuwa naona huyo mtoto nani alimlitisha? Alimlitisha kuja kuona nini? Hapo ndio mimi sijui.
Ni sawa sasa Florence. Wacha tufikishe hapo kwa leo.
Lakini wewe ukipima pole utamfanyia vile anataka ama aje?
Ndio tunajaribu kuona vile atasaidika.
Alikuja msaidie nini? Unajua sijajua.
Rudia kidogo. Urudie kidogo, sijakusikia hapo.
Yaani nasema mimi ni watu wale ambao wanasaidianga watu. Na ndio mimi nakuuliza alikuwa anakuja kusema upande wa namna gani? Kwa maana mimi sijui hata.
Nakwambia alikuwa anajiuliza yeye ni nani. Manake yako na majina mawili. Akienda kwa serikali kutafuta passport, anaambiwa akulete wewe upeleke birth certificate original, haupatikani. Sasa hawezi pata ile passport alikuwa anatafuta. Ndio maana tulikuwa tunakutafuta tusikie upande wako wa kutoka kwako. Yes.
Akatafuta?
Ni kitambulisho cha kuweza kusafiri kutoka nje ya nchi.
Sasa hiyo nayo hata siwezi kitu kama hiyo. Labda ndio mimi nakwambia vitu yote huyu mwagika kwake kule kwa makaratasi ndio tunaonyeshanga. So unajua hivyo?
Sawa, wacha tufikishe hapo kwa leo mama.
Sasa ndio mimi namwachia. Nitasaidia, nitaona vile nataka. Na mkiwa mnaweza nisaidie. Na sababu nitakuja kuuliza maneno magumu na mna hiyo.
Sawa.
Nilipati yako kidogo, nisijue.
Nikupatie nini?
Nikasema alikuwa anataka passport pieces ya nini?
Hicho ni cheti cha kusafiri nje ya nchi.
Yeye anataka kusafiri?
Watu huchukua ili akipata opportunity asitaabike.
Watu wanachukua? Na hapo si ngumu baba.
Ndio maana tunatafuta ukweli.
Mimi naona sasa sababu serikali mna wakati kabisa. Saa ingine jiandae, tunataka tumsaidie, lakini hatujui hivi. Nilifanya mzuri sana kuniuliza maneno kama hivi. Lakini wewe ndio mimi nasema nataka kusafiri wapi, kwa nani?
Sasa wacha tufikishe hapo mame, kwa sababu hiyo mambo ya passport na kusafiri inaweza kutatiza kidogo, lakini watu huchukua hiyo cheti ndio waweze kusafiri mtu akipata opportunity nje ya nchi.
Sasa ngambo wanaenda kwa nani? Kwa maana sisi hatuna mtu kwa ngambo.
Anaweza enda kufanya kazi.
Imepatikana sawa?
Haijapatikana, lakini akaweza kupata, anaweza kusafiri bila matatizo.
Sasa ingine.
Sawa sawa?
Ingine.
Akaweza pata hiyo opportunity.
Na lakini wewe kupima pole, najua mimi ndio daraja yao. Kukutika kwa mangumu na maraisi, mimi ndio nguvu zetu, sio?
Sawa.
Sasa
asanti mama, asanti. Asanti. Asanti kwa kuzungumza na sisi. Asanti kwa kuzungumza na sisi.
Sawa.
Haya.
Lakini kwa tena kipiga tutaongea, turekebishe tuone aje, sio?
Sawa. There she goes. I personally can't make head or tail of the explanation that she has given to me. And probably it's the same explanation that she has given to Edward. And that's why Edward has to look for his identity on his own. Because if this is the kind of explanation that he's getting, then he would feel lost. Thank you so much, Edward, for sharing your story with us, and we hope that you find that closure you're looking for and get to know the real you and live a life of fulfillment, even as you become a cinematographer and fulfill your dream.
Sure.
Thank you so much for your time.
I'm so grateful.
Yes. Tuko family, that's the story of Edward Amata. He's looking for closure, just as we are closing this episode. I pray that he gets it. If you're there, you can help him trace his roots. I'm sure that help is much welcome. My name is King'ori Wangechi. This has been my story right here on Tuko. Thank you so much. Keep watching.